This video, I'm going to try and tackle getting this thing to run a little bit better. So one of the main things from the last video when I tried to drive it was this throttle was getting stuck, and I think everything just needs to be taken apart and lubricated. So I'll be doing that first. After taking out the air box, I figured out why I have zero brakes. The vacuum line going to the booster went to just the air box itself and not actually a vacuum source. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to see all these vacuum lines here, how they go to this. I'm gonna probably have to tap off of this box and run a line going to the brake booster so I have actual vacuum from each cylinder. I just pulled the spark plugs and these things are absolutely trashed. I don't even know how the car was running with these things, so I'm gonna swap out some fresh ones and see if that helps anything. Right now I'm looking for any broken rocker arms or anything that seems out of place. So I want to double check everything in here in the head. It actually looks pretty clean in here. Nothing's really jumping out at me. I mean, I can't really see that this thing has an upgraded cam. I mean, because there's a BMW stamp factory on there, but it may be a regrind, so not really sure on that. Probably go through here and do a valve adjustment while I'm in here. Decided against doing a valve adjustment. I want to do a little more research. I know sometimes with high lift cams, your piston valve clearance could be very close, so I didn't want to risk over adjusting that and then having piston valve contact. So the other thing I need to do next is wire a dedicated relay straight to the battery on a switch, so I can activate the fuel pump. Something in this wiring is kind of janky. I know in E30s they have a fuel pump relay right in that black box there. It's just not sending the voltage it needs to activate that fuel pump, so I'm going to run a dedicated line straight to the battery and make sure that runs properly. The other thing I noticed when I took that manifold off is it actually still has an idle control valve, surprisingly, with this ITB setup. So in the tuning, I could probably use this to my advantage and deal with you know, ITBs and a high lift cam and make it idle properly with that idle control valve. All right, now I'm actually wiring the stock pump to this little relay kit that I got. It's used for a light bar, but I mean, it's rated for 40 amps, so I don't think this would exceed, you know, that kind of amp draw. So I got these leads and I cut off the stock pigtail connecting to the fuel pump, so I'm going to connect those now. Okay, so we got the new wideband controller hooked up. Got some fresh plugs in here. I think the next thing I'm going to do is on my laptop just make sure that all the sensors are calibrated correctly and reading ambient temperatures when the car is off, as far as the coolant and intake temp sensors, and then mess around with a couple other settings in the tune, see what happens. So after trying to calibrate the sensors, I noticed that the manifold pressure it was just going up and then slowly coming back down, going up, slowly coming back down. And then I would actually wiggle the line going into the map sensor that's built into the ECU, and the number kind of jumped all over the place. So I'm thinking there's a bad connection possibly on there, throwing off the reading for the map sensor. So I'm gonna have to look into that next. Found out after some extensive testing that this board had a map sensor and a barometer on it. So you would have air pressure correction if you change elevation while you're driving. So what I did, I looked at the raw values on the computer, and I saw that one was reading like 125 kPa, and then the other was like 80, 90 something kPa. I think 95 kPa was correct for the elevation I'm at right now, and then the actual map sensor was way too high. So I found out that these should obviously be the same when the engine's off, because they're getting the same air pressure reading. So I believe one of these sensors is dead. So I have another one on order, so we'll be working on that next.